If you joined active military service after 9/11, you could qualify for a $500 bonus even if you didn't deploy anywhere. That bonus comes from the state of Massachusetts. Did you deploy to Iraq, Afghanistan? That could be another $1,000 on top of it. More than one deployment, like many of us have had, another $500 for those subsequent deployments. Maybe you served prior to 9/11 and you were sent to a conflict zone during a non-wartime period, such as Lebanon or Bosnia. That's a $300 bonus through the Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal bonus program. Maybe you served even prior to that in Vietnam or Korea or World War II even. There are bonuses for them. Massachusetts has been awarding wartime payments to residents of Massachusetts who left to go fight in the war and then came back. They've been doing this since World War I. Depending on the location served and the period served, there are different criteria, but there are three things that stay common for each bonus. Number one, you have to be a resident of Massachusetts for about 6 months before joining the military. Number two, active service has to have been during specific eligibility periods. And number three, you must submit an application and the proper documentation in order to collect your bonus. Now, if you're like me and spent pretty much your entire time in the military away from Massachusetts, you may never have heard about this bonus. So we hope this video will help. As we leave the units or the duty stations that we serve in or around the world, they don't know what benefits and what services are available from state to state. It's up to us to share that information with each other. So if there's a benefit that you know about in Massachusetts that you think others should know about, definitely go to the contact section of massveteran.com and send us a note. As long as we can independently research it, which means that it has to have definitions, has to define what a veteran is, who qualifies for it, exactly what it does. We'll take a look at it, we'll research it, and then we'll put out a video on it. We can't promote information that is too vague or doesn't set realistic expectations, right? So helping veterans isn't specific enough. We need to communicate who specifically it's for and what it does. But today we're talking about the welcome home bonus and all of the other bonuses that are back there. We're going to hop on the laptop here in just a second and take a look. Something to know about this bonus, though, is that if you are active duty military and you meet the conditions for a bonus while you're still on duty, you can apply for that bonus. I would encourage you to consider waiting until your service is complete. As you leave service and you transition back home, that money will come in handy to aid you while you either get set up on your GI Bill and go back to school, while you're looking for a new apartment or trying to pay rent, while you're looking for employment, while you're looking for a sustainable source of income. There are a lot of reasons why you're probably going to want to have some extra money in your pocket when you come home. So if you don't need to take that bonus in increments while you're serving, I would just consider it money in the bank. You don't have to. All right, let's jump off of this and get onto the laptop and take a look. So here we are behind the laptop. I opened up my browser. I did a search for Massachusetts Veterans Bonus. My first result brought me to a mass.gov page. And we see this big banner that says Veterans Bonus Division, so we know we're in the right spot. I check my URL up top. It's off screen here, but just to make sure that I'm on mass.gov and not any copycat site, because I am going to start putting in some information here in a couple of minutes, right, if I'm applying for a bonus. So, looks good here, and so I start scrolling down, and I see the contact information for the Veterans Bonus Division. And I want to keep this phone number in mind, and I want to keep this email address in mind. I do almost everything via email, and when I've emailed the Veterans Bonus Division, I usually get a response. You usually get a response the same day. Now that might be several hours later, but the response comes. So feel free to pick up the phone, give them a call, send them an email. They've been very communicative, and there's no reason to think that that will change. So when we scroll down a little bit further, we can get onto their social media and find links to that if you want to stay up to date on things going on. But we're not here to look at social media or make phone calls just yet. What we're here is to take some action. So let's take a look at the actions that we can take. The number one reason most of us would be interested in visiting the site would be to apply for the Welcome Home Veterans Bonus, or the Post 9/11 bonus, or the GWAT bonus, or the GWAT bonus, or the Iraq Afghanistan bonus. There are so many names for it that might be had in casual conversation, but they're all the same thing. Right, so we'll take a deeper look at that in just a second, but let's take a look at what else we can do here. Number two, we have the Veterans Bonus Inquiry. So the Veterans Bonus Inquiry is to just what it sounds like. You can submit an inquiry and ask the question, have I received this? Or has my relative received this in the case of a deceased relative? If you are an active duty service member and you have been getting your bonuses in segments, so you did CONUS or OCONUS for 6 months, and you applied for that $500 bonus. Then you spent a year over in Syria or Afghanistan. Then you apply for that other bonus. Then you return back and you do a second deployment, and then you apply for that bonus. You might not remember exactly which ones that you've gotten. Now, another thing is, Vietnam conflict bonus, World War II and Korea veterans bonuses. You may not remember if you received that back in the day when you returned home. And in some cases, there's a change of terminology where, I've heard the term mustering out pay for Massachusetts, and that was also the bonus and how that was called back then. So just as a note, I have worked with several Vietnam veterans who had not received their bonuses that later put in an application and received them. So that is good to know that not everybody did get this, and it's still there, can still be applied for. There's no expiration date on that, not that I'm aware of. Now, you also have this veterans bonus for deceased service members. So sometimes this is used for deaths that happen overseas, whether it's a KIA or accidental death. In other cases, it can be from somebody who fought one of these previous conflicts and passed away, or even the current wars and passed away before they get their bonuses, right? So if you're the family member of a veteran who has passed and you're not sure if he or she received the bonus, you can submit a bonus inquiry. Now that goes in order of priority of spouse and children first, mother and father second, siblings third, right? Then other family members, right? So you can always submit that inquiry and then give them a call and go through the process, and it's pretty well detailed on this page. Also here we have the Massachusetts COVID-19 bonus, which is a $500 bonus for National Guard in Massachusetts who are activated to provide pandemic support through COVID-19. That's a pretty good one. It's relatively new. And in addition to this, you'll notice that there is no applications here for that Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal. Again, that is something there. It's a $300 bonus, and that's for service in a conflict during peacetime. Peacetime, you can consider that period after Vietnam to Gulf War I and between Gulf War I and Gulf War II, right? So a lot happened in that time, but we can look at Bosnia, Lebanon, etc. But if you were in the service at that time and you received the Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, that's a $300 bonus. You apply for it using the Welcome Home Veterans bonus, right? So you can do that right online. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So from this page, we just scroll down a little bit, and here's all the social media links again, if that's something that you're interested in following. And then you'll see this little video about what to do with unexpected income. So if you're not sure what to do with your money, you can watch that video, and maybe you'll find something you like. Also, down here is uh, a link where you can help determine your status. If you're not sure if you're active military or you've been discharged from the military, it's right here. I'm not even going to click on it. I'm going to assume that the vast majority of people watching this video know if they're active duty or they're discharged, right? So let's jump right here into the apply for welcome home bonus. And here you'll find some general information about what you'll need to apply, and you'll see the differences between active duty, discharge, reserve, National Guard members, right? So one of the things, you're always going to need the application form. You're always going to need to prove residency. And just as a note, if you're having trouble with proving your residency in Massachusetts, call them up and let them know, hey, I'm having a difficult time because, and most often, that will be because of a transportation issue based on your geographic location. So if I live in Worcester, it's easy for me to get to Worcester City Hall. And if I join the military from Worcester and I live in Worcester after the military, that's pretty easy. But if I join the military from Hyannis and now I'm living in Pittsfield, you're talking a 7-hour round trip to get to the clerk's office, right? So give them a call and let them know about it. If you're active duty and you're stationed in Fort Hood and you're trying to get a certificate of residency, you're not going to fly home to pick that up. So give them a call. Let them know uh, that you need some help with proving residency because you're unable to travel or for whatever other reason that might be, and let them know the situation. And I am sure that in many cases they will be able to give you a hand, right? And then commander's letter, proof of service if you're active duty, and if you're discharged, you'll have your DD-214 down there. Same thing with National Guard. You get activated, you go do your active service, you come back, you get a DD-214 for that period. Those are all things that you'll submit along with the application. So if you're applying online, have digital copies available for upload. Well, let's take a look at that application itself. And I'm going to enter a bunch of false information. I'm not going to submit it. Right? I'm just going to make it up for speed. But we'll go through it just so you can see the information that's being looked for. As a quick note before starting the application, if you do have a copy of your ERB or ORB available, that for me was the easiest way to do it because it'll say dates, where were you and for what dates, and that'll be reflected on your 214, but the ERB just breaks it down so much easier. So let's go on to the application form. On the first page of the application, you'll see some general instructions and introduction. It'll tell you what information that you're going to need to submit and kind of what to expect. You'll also have contact information again if you have questions. Definitely, take the number down or be prepared to email them and stop and start your application if you have questions. But I would get all your answers first. Now, what I didn't notice the first time I went through this was how to advance. If you look at the bottom right, there's a next button right there. When I went through this the first time, I didn't see that, and I was trying to click on everything. So if you do the same move, there it is in that bottom right corner. So here's the first page of the application. I believe there's 3 pages, but I'm going to enter in a bunch of false information just to walk through so we can get through the screens and you can see what to expect as you fill this application out. Again, I'm not going to submit it, and none of this information I'm putting in is accurate. Now, you'll see on this first page, you're not coming across any information that's unusual. It's basic demographic contact information that you would fill out on an application for just about anything. How did I hear about this program? I heard about it from another veteran. No, so we'll just go with a friend or family member. And since nobody's helping me with this application, I do not have an alternate contact. Now we talk about right here is where that ERB or 214 can come in handy. So you have all those dates right there in front of you. But again, we're just mixing in false information here. And discharge date, since this is the post 9/11, all these discharge dates are going to be in the 2000s. So I will use that. And let's say a warrant 5. I don't know if I've actually ever seen a warrant 5. I think by that time they actually disappear. I think warrant 4 is where you get those ninja skills where you don't show up anymore, and then warrant 5 you just actually learn how to be transparent. So here was your address at the time of entry different from your current address? I'm just going to put no for the sake of ease. If it's yes, it'll ask you for your address when you enter the service. And here was your name. Was your name when you entered service different than your current name? And no, but for some people that will be yes, due to marriage or other circumstances. So now we're on the payment request, and this kind of outlines what the payments would be based on where you were in service. And again, you don't even have to really worry about this too much. Just copy down that information, where you were and what you did from your 214 or your ERB, and it will be calculated there. But if you do want to get an estimate, you can see here your first time active service in Iraq or Afghanistan or other imminent danger area, $1,000. First time continuous 6 months active service, CONUS or OCONUS, $500. And that's just being stationed, wherever your duty station was for 6 months. You can only get that once, so you don't get $500 for every 6 months that you serve, right? If a person died while they were on active service, that's another $1,000. Subsequent deployment are $500. $500. Subsequent 6 months, CONUS or OCONUS. Deployment and direct support of Operations Enduring Freedom, Iraqi Freedom, Noble Eagle, Inherent Resolve, Freedom Sentinel, or any successor or related operation, $250. And direct support of, could be loading up Humvees in Texas to go to Afghanistan. That's just an example. And so here we go, stateside. And again, if I'm pulling right from my ERB, it'll give me the exact date, so I know when I served in my duty station and when I left. And there'll be a whole bunch of different ones that come up that you'll probably have depending on the length of your military career. But your first entry would be, let's put Fort Sam Houston in the U.S. And for this, no. But you'll list each one out that you did. Again, according to your ERB, your ORB will make this much easier. So here we go, and this is the final page of the application. And here's where we submit our documents. And this kind of reminds you what the documents are. And it gives you the information that you can send it, just upload it here, which is, again, important to have electronic copies of your paperwork. Or you can mail it in if you don't want to do it that way, or if you're not sure how. Right, so it restates the information that should be submitted. And then as you scroll down a little bit further, it gives you the file. You can choose the file to upload from your computer. And then you just click on the button to add another attachment, put in your second document. And then if you have more, you can add more attachments, right? And then you confirm that, you submitted the documents pertinent to your application. You sign your name, or write your name, or type your name, and you check these boxes and you submit the application, and you're good to go. Now afterwards, you can always send an email over here again and say, hey, did you receive my application? Again, they'll respond when they're able. And that's about it. So it's not a very complex application process. And again, the best thing you can do to prepare is to have that ERB available to reference. At least your 214. You're going to need to submit that anyway. Or if you're active duty, copies of your orders that says when you went where, but the ERB, I'll tell you what, in my eyes, that just made this application process much easier. So, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. If you haven't submitted for your bonus yet, I would go ahead and do so. Again, your choice. Nobody's going to twist your arm to get these benefits. If you want them, you have to go through the process. You take care, and I'll see you on the next one.